Hi, it's the M.L.M for the Soul channel, and I do have a new topic for today. But before I begin, I would just like to say, may the words and expressions of my mouth and the thoughts and meditations of my heart find favor and acceptance before you, Hashem. And some people who I want to thank, and I usually thank every time I do my video because they have inspired me, and I hope they can inspire you as well. They are Rabbi Shalom Arush, Rabbi Lazer Brody, Rabbi Yosef Mizrahi, Rabbi Eli Mansour, Rabbi Alona Nava, Rav Daniel Asor, Rabbi Yuval Ovadia, Nisan Baruch Black, David Sachs, and Jews for Judaism, Rabbi Michael Skobak. And again, I want to bring up the fact that if you've never checked out this channel before and you're new to it, and you don't know what M.L.M for the Soul is all about, check out my first video. Now, someone in the comments asked me a question, and unfortunately, I can't answer to my comments. There's a complicated reason. I don't want to go into it. But what I just want to say is, she asked, where do you find the first video? What you have to do is you have to go to the beginning of when I started this channel, which was, I believe, a couple years ago. So you just have to look for the earlier date. I don't know if they're dated when you view it. I don't know what it tells you, but you would look for the one that just says M.L.M. I think it just says M.L.M for the Soul. It doesn't have a topic. Like every other one has a topic besides the name of the channel. And I don't remember what date it is, but you just have to keep scrolling to the first video. And hopefully you'll find it that way. So today is going to be part 3, and this will be the final part for this particular topic called The True and Only Source of Sustenance. You, Me, or Who, part 3. And again, I'm reading from the Artscroll Series book called Praying with Fire 2 from Rabbi Heshy Kleinman, and I will have a link below so you can check out the book as well. And like I said, I read it every morning before my tefillot, before my morning prayers. So we're going to read from 2 days here to finish it up. So this is from day 27 called Praying for Our Livelihood. And it says, so I'm going to read you first the story, and then there's other stuff in here as well. Almost 80 years ago, Rabbi Elchanan Wasserman called attention to the economic problems of his time, the worldwide depression that began in 1929. Rabbi Wasserman put the principles of economics into a religious perspective. He wrote that the problem was not that there was no more money, rather that all trust had broken down. The credit upon which any modern economy is based had dried up. Those with money refuse to lend it, and suppliers will not sell on credit. Rabbi Wasserman saw a divine lesson in that loss of trust. He attributed the loss of trust between people to a loss of emunah and bitachon in Hashem. Because people lose faith and trust in Hashem, he removed from them their faith and trust in each other. So again, it's midah keneged midah. Basically, our whole lives are measure for measure. So because, like I said, because they lost faith and trust in Hashem, they lost their faith and trust in each other. Each man will not have faith in another, and countries do not trust each other. Since the foundation of business is built on, quote, credit, trust in one another is missing. The lack of emunah is the source of all the economic ills. That is the root of the economic disease. So that's the end of the story. And now continuing on. Of all the hishtadlus a person can do towards earning a living, there is one foolproof method that more than anything else ensures success. That is to sincerely pray for one's livelihood. By praying, a person demonstrates unequivocally that he knows to whom he must turn to obtain his daily bread. When a person puts his faith in Hashem, says the Chavos Halivavos, Hashem, quote, places an eye on him to guide him and will not abandon him only to his own powers and abilities. One thus acquires an all-powerful, quote, manager in his pursuits. So the story goes like this. The owner of a fast-growing business comes to the realization that he lacks the expertise to manage his company. He carefully researches the field and hires a highly qualified business manager to reorganize the business. However, the owner cannot bear to completely give up control of finances. Therefore, he tells the manager, you run half the business and I will run the other half. The manager agrees to the arrangement and watches in dismay as the owner's half descends into chaos, until the owner comes to the realization that he must hand over full control. The expert manager cannot help him. So basically that's what it's saying, is you have to give it all to the right person. Bitachon in Hashem's management of one's livelihood operates much like the above allegory illustrates. Hashem manages, guides, and protects the livelihoods of those who hand control over to him. Those who imagine that they can succeed on the strength of their own ability, however, make a choice that subjects them to the rule of the natural forces Hashem has put into the world. So, let's see, according to the Rambam, the note below says, according to the level that the, quote, fools do not recognize Hashem's existence, there exists a lack of hashgacha pratis, and the more the rules of nature apply. The more one acknowledges Hashem's existence, the more hashgacha pratis applies, and the less the laws of nature will apply. So basically, if you hand over to Hashem, you'll have a certain thing, hashgacha pratis, and then there'll be a lack of it if you believe that nature is really doing everything. Okay, let's see, we'll continue on. Indeed, although one's livelihood is in Hashem's hands, the manner in which Hashem interacts with a person is very much in the person's hand. Rav Elia Lopian explains. Each and every day Hashem, quote, behaves with an individual according to the measure of trust that a person has in Hashem. As the verse states, and this is from Tehillim, Hashem is your shadow, he is by your right hand. Hashem is like a shadow, for when you show Hashem a finger, he shows one to you. If you show 2 fingers, Hashem shows 2 fingers. According to the measure of a person's trust in Hashem, in this measure Hashem helps. And then there was something else I didn't say about hashgacha pratis that I want to just say here, and then we'll continue on. The more a Jew serves Hashem and believes in him, the more hashgacha pratis applies to him. As the Rambam in Moreh Nevuchim says, the hashgacha pratis of Hashem is not the same for all mankind. The benefit of hashgacha pratis will be in accordance with the amount that one is whole, meaning the amount that he comprehends Hashem. Man is the purpose of creation. He is superior to animals in that he has higher intelligence that is designed to be used to serve Hashem. The more that he serves Hashem, the more he merits to receive hashgacha pratis. Now, hashgacha klalis applies to a person who does not serve Hashem and to animals. Because the substance of their life is not to serve Hashem, therefore the purpose of their existence depends on whether they are useful to one who does serve Hashem. The good they receive in this world is not based on their own actions, as they themselves are not meritorious. Rather, they may merit to receive good if their success will allow a tzaddik to fulfill his service of Hashem. So basically, it's the hashgacha klalis is that a person doesn't serve Hashem, but he serves others who serve Hashem. And that would be their merit. Okay, continuing on. Sincere prayer is a primary means by which one draws Hashem's, quote, shadow of help and protection. As the verse states, and this is also in Tehillim, Hashem is close to all who call upon him sincerely. Rav Elia Lopian explains that Hashem is close to all, even to a person who by virtue of his deeds may not merit Hashem's assistance. Nevertheless, because his heartfelt prayers express his emunah and bitachon in Hashem, in that merit Hashem will help him, says Rav Lopian. Meaning that his deeds don't merit him assistance, but because his prayers are expressed with emunah bitachon, that's what merits the help, even though his deeds don't show that. The prayer of Barech Aleinu in Shemona Esrei beseeches Hashem for success in all one's endeavors, including raising our children and earning the respect of those around us. However, it is specifically a request for prosperity. The prayer begins, bless on our behalf Hashem this year and all its kinds of crops. The prayer voices one recognition of the divine source of the sustenance given to the natural world. It echoes the Gemara that says, who sits in heaven above and provides food and sustenance for every living organism below, from the huge mammoths to the microscopic insect eggs. Those who have ingrained this understanding of Hashem into their hearts are driven from within to pray for their material well-being. They pray with kavanah because they know that this is the only means of fulfilling their needs and satisfying their aspirations. They know that although they may do so much every day to earn their living, it is only their prayers expressing the emunah and bitachon of their hearts that enable them to succeed. And then one final day we're going to read from is day 32, called The Time to Try. When a person puts in a reasonable effort to obtain a livelihood, he has done all he should. A person of faith understands that more effort does not bring more gain. Therefore, he prays to Hashem for success because the bottom line is in Hashem's hands. The same is true of one's health. When one pursues all reasonable roads to recovery and prays to Hashem to bring healing, his job is done. The rest is in Hashem's hands. So we do our part, and then we have to give it over to Hashem. Earlier, we illustrated this concept. That was in another day in this book, in day 26, which I did read. This concept with the Chazon Ish's comments that Yosef was punished because he performed unwarranted hishtadlus. Since Yosef should have realized that the chamberlain of the cupbearers would not intercede for him, the request was seen as an unrealistic measure. Does this concept apply in the area of spirituality as well? Does spirituality too have limits on the proper amount of hishtadlus one should do? So this is where the difference comes in, so pay attention. The paradigm for hishtadlus in spiritual matters comes from the verse in the Torah, in Shemos, that recounts the rescue of Moshe Rabbeinu from the Nile by Paro's daughter. Noticing the basket contained the infant Moshe as it drifted among the reeds, she, quote, sent her maidservant and she took it. Rashi states that the Aggadic translation of Amasa, her maidservant, is actually her arm, meaning that she extended her arm and miraculously it became long enough to reach the basket. Rav Chaim Shmulevitz infers that because Paro's daughter exerted herself to the maximum limit to save the child, knowing that her human effort would be insufficient, she merited the miracle that enabled her to reach the basket. The lesson is that in spiritual matters, one should employ extraordinary efforts, even when it appears that success is beyond reach. Thus, there appears to be two conflicting answers to the question of what constitutes proper hishtadlus. So the Chazon Ish teaches that one should stop at ordinary effort and leave the rest to Hashem, while Rav Chaim Shmulevitz suggests that even when there appears to be no hope of success, one should employ superhuman effort. So here's where we get a resolution to this. These two points of view are reconciled by Rav Yitzchak Blazer. Concerning material matters, one's main focus should be to rely on Hashem and make an effort only in fulfillment of heaven's decree that man must work. The person's obligation is merely to perform an action through which Hashem's blessing can take effect. Thus, when dealing with personal needs such as livelihood or health issues and similar things, one must make normal hishtadlus. However, regarding spiritual pursuits, the opposite is true. When dealing with spirituality, such as when Paro's daughter reached out her hand to save the child, then one must perform as much hishtadlus as possible. By indicating that he's prepared to go above and beyond, one will receive benefit that is limala min hateva, surpassing the norm. Meaning, when it comes to our spirituality, our ruchnius, there's no limit. Keep pushing forward, and then you will receive benefit that's above nature because you're going above. When it comes to your livelihood and your health, it's more your gashmir side. It's just do your normal hishtadlus, and then you rely on Hashem for the rest. In reality, the many distinctions we have made regarding hishtadlus come together to form one unified picture. The success of our efforts in all areas of life is dependent on Hashem. Ultimately, heaven is the sole place to which to turn for help, and prayer is the only means to acquire the crucial heavenly assistance for our life's journey. So that gives you a little more perspective on the difference between what we do for our physical and what we do for our spiritual, because we still have to put in some effort, but depends on how much. And I just want to say in closing that I hope we focus more on what we really need to be doing, and which is our spiritual efforts, and put it out at an extraordinary level, as it says in here, and that through that we all come together, that we will merit to live and to see the coming of Mashiach speedily in our days and the rebuilding of our final everlasting Beis Hamikdash. Amen, and thank you for watching.